What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
And LeVon Maynard.
Welcome to the show.
What is going on? So, action-packed week. Please tune in Monday through Friday. We skip Thursdays unless I do a special episode, but Monday we talk about a land tenant attack that was led by Shannon. Tuesday we talk about TSA with oversight and regulation of the railroads and airlines. That was LeVon's. Wednesday we have a discussion about how women and minorities are specifically attacked more than others when it comes to cyber attacks and data theft. I thought that was a pretty good conversation. And today we talk about everything else. So definitely look forward to these episodes to kind of let loose. I have not been studying, even though I have a test in a couple of days. This is the one's gonna hurt. So we will graze tangentially on that a little bit. But without further ado, how's everybody's week been?
I can't complain. It's been a good week for me. I've been watching some shows, watching some movies, playing some games. Same old. But it's been I know we talked about, we briefly mentioned in a little chat we had before about the what if that just happened in a couple of days ago, which was pretty phenomenal. I think it was a good season finale, whatever you want to call it. And then I had a chance to check out the latest Bond movie, which I thought was good. That was really good. And then what else did I check out? I've been interested to hear how you thought, what you've been thinking of Squid Game. I know you started watching
Squid Game.
I know Shannon is an anti-Squid Game currently. He's like, I don't even want to mess with that right now.
It just don't interest me, man. Like,
how dare you? How dare you? Everybody's talking about it. You're gonna be out the loop.
I know. I feel like such a weirdo. Look, this is how I felt like this when everybody kept watching Game of Thrones. Like after season 3, I was just kind of like, all right, I'm done with it. But like it went to 7 or 8 seasons. The people were always talking about it on Monday, like show up at work. Oh, did you see Game of Thrones? Did you see Game of Thrones? I'm like, nah, I'll stop watching.
See, I respect that though, because I dropped out of The Walking Dead. That was my jam until I don't know, season 8 maybe. And then I was like it was I don't want to give anything away I don't know, they're on like season 11 now, so you should have seen it if you care. they killed off another character and I was just like, you know what, I'm out.
Right.
I'm out of here. So I respect it. But yeah, you should still watch Squid Game though.
Yeah. I'm one of the suckers that still watch Walking Dead, even though it's not any good anymore. I feel like I gotta watch it to the conclusion.
Oh man,
you've invested the time at this point.
Yeah,
right? I feel like and that's why I cut bait early now. Like I don't want to get too invested to where I'm like I feel obligated to watch stuff now because I'm like, man, I put so much time in. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so like I didn't know. So like when I watched those 3 seasons of Game of Thrones, one of the guys I worked with at the time, he won them in a raffle. Like he won a DVD box set from work, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
He won a DVD box set, and I watched the first 3 seasons, and season 4, I think, was near the end of it airing or something like that. So like it was on HBO, but I had not watched it. But after I watched season 3, because somebody on this podcast was like, "Oh, you got to watch up until the Red Wedding." I did that, and I was like, I'm not shocked. Like they've been doing this the previous 2 seasons and all the way through this one. Like everybody can get it in Game of Thrones. I get it. Everybody can get got.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like for me, it was just kind of like, I don't know. It didn't interest me anymore. I know my wife wanted to watch it after that. She wanted to keep watching it because she was interested, but I was like, okay, and then I never brought it up again, and I never had to watch it again. So
Gotcha.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, very, very disappointing finale. So yeah. It was crazy though, because it didn't get bad, it just ended bad. Like it was ramping up. You were like, oh man, it's about to be
I was gonna say, yeah.
Like that last season where they were making like hour-long episodes. I was like, man, they getting somewhere. And then it was just like, yeah, we're done. You're like, yo, how
Yeah.
did you not finish this? But I mean, the books aren't finished, so they just had to do what they could, I guess.
HBO was good for that, man. They did the same thing with Sopranos, right? Like
I
Sopranos.
never made it to the end. I never made
It's
it to the
just
end.
a fade to black. Me either. Me either. Like it got to the point where I was just like, all right, Tony's not knocking anybody off anymore. Like we're doing, you know what I mean? That's what I mean. So it's like, but like the ending, the finale of Sopranos, they just did a fade to black. That was it. You're left to assume, whatever may have happened. And I'm not giving anything away, right? Because this was
I don't know. I have no clue. I'll probably never pick it up.
13 years ago. But like he's sitting in a restaurant and he's looking at his family come to meet him, right? And it's weird because so what people theorize is that he got assassinated, which is why it just fades to black, because somebody shot him and he just didn't see anything else. But he's sitting in a restaurant and he's watching his family come through the door. But he had noticed earlier his waiter, like, you ever watch was it Goodfellas, where it's talking about if someone has good shoes, you look at their shoes to tell whether or not they're like a hitman or whatever, because a hitman. So the waiter had like good shoes on and he noticed it, right? And he didn't pay any attention to it. And so he's looking out this window and apparently you can see somebody walk up on him and then just fade to black. That's it. Like that was it. And people were just like, what is that? That was the series finale. What is that? Like, what is going on here? But yeah, I was like, okay, well, I'm glad I didn't invest any more time in that. You know what I mean?
That's one of those easy cases in my head. Like, I'm not a writer, right? But you just pull back after the fade to black. You just pull back and you just show the smoking hole.
Exactly. As he's laying on the table, right? Like that's.
And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, Tony did it, right? I've heard people say the same thing about Lost. I never watched Lost, but they said that Lost was like that, and I read somewhere it came out that they didn't expect to go past like 3 seasons or something like that, but it was so popular they were obligated to just keep giving them what they want. So at the point where people started losing interest was the point where they were just like, we didn't plan for it to go past or go to this point,
Right. So they had no end game. So HBO is good for that though. Like HBO will just murder a show. Yeah. Like they killed, like you hated it, but
Boardwalk Empire. Oh, okay, yeah.
Well, yeah. So Boardwalk Empire, I'm on the last season. I just cannot get. It's been 8 years or something like that. Yeah. I just couldn't get past the last season. Or yeah, I just have to watch it. I don't know why I have not, but now that Michael K. Williams passed away, I feel obligated to go back and watch it. So. Because he was such a great actor. But again, Lovecraft Country, right? So he was in that as well. Like I thought he did a really good job. But the writer was like, I got some more material, but she wrapped up the first season so good. HBO was just like, man, we're good. You're like, this was the most popular show you had at the time. Probably not ever, but at the time, it was like the show. It was killing Netflix. It was killing Amazon. It was just like, man, we're good.
Lovecraft Country, really?
Yeah. Yeah, it was killing them in the ratings. It was killing them. But HBO was just like, yeah, you wrapped it up. And she was like, no, I got more stuff.
Maybe I should have.
Good job.
Maybe I should have got past that first episode then. See, this is so for everybody listening in, Lovecraft Country is one of those that made me doubt Ryan's opinions when it came to like,
it's wild.
It's wild. It is wild. Like it is maybe it's just too wild for me. You know what I mean? Like I can suspend disbelief. I can believe that we will be in spaceships in Stardate 2353. Like I can get that. I can believe the God of Thunder has a hammer that comes back to him. You know what I mean? Like I can take that, but that was just like nah, not for me.
Yeah, I mean it's a weird it's a weird combination of real horror, like this is real life, what people are going through. And then you throw horror in there as well. So I can say that kind of, you know what I mean? Like that could kind of throw you off. And then it has magic and Afro punk and you know what I mean? Like it's doing a bunch of stuff, but for whatever reason, I thought it was a perfect blend of all of it. But yeah, there's some episodes that are horror for real life, like real life events happen. And you're just like, oh. And then you know what I mean? Like, how do you combine that? I thought she did a good job. She combined that with other, you know what I mean, like supernatural terror as well. But I digress. It's only got 1 season. So either watch it out there, people, or like that's perfect for me. Like if you only get 1-2 seasons, I'm great with it. But I felt like they could have got a second season out of that. There's plenty left.
At this point, the guy that was the main character in there, he's so busy now, he may not even be able to come back. I don't remember his name, but he was in Loki.
Yeah,
Loki, he was,
Nice Kang.
he's they do allude to it being Kang at the end of Loki. If you haven't watched it by now, okay, whatever, it's spoiled for you.
Nah, man, that's
yeah.
Well, he wasn't about Kang now.
Well, he wasn't Kang. He wasn't Kang until
he wasn't the Conqueror,
right?
Yeah, he wasn't Kang the Conqueror, but he was.
Yeah. Right, because when it became the multiverse, then it was Kang.
He was a variant.
Yeah, but he's
gonna be tied up for the next decade.
Yeah, he's got a lot of stuff going on. So like he's gonna be in he's gonna be in Marvel, right? Based off that. He just did the Netflix movie with Idris Elba, which I haven't watched yet either. The Western. He's in that.
Oh, is that out?
Yeah, it came out.
Oh no, I'm doing tonight.
Yesterday, I think. Yeah.
With
Idris Elba, Regina King.
Yeah, Regina King.
Got him in it. I'm fairly certain it released. Man, you got me doubting it now. I'm like, I thought I saw.
But for all those who don't know about it, I can't remember the title, but Shannon let us know in a second. But it has an ensemble cast of people of color, and Black Westerns, in my opinion, are some of the best Westerns. Like I still, to this day, Tombstone is still one of the greatest Westerns of all time. I'm not a big Western dude, but like Tombstone is my jam. That was a really good movie. And then there's a couple like Wyatt Earp and stuff like that. But what was it? It was the Magnificent Seven. I really like that one with Denzel. It was there's another one I really liked. Then of course you have the Hateful Eight, but it's not all black cast. It's just Samuel Jackson being Samuel Jackson in a Western, which is great. There's a few others. Blazing Saddles when I was a kid. Like I didn't like Westerns all like that, but I love Blazing Saddles. It's very off color now through watching it. I still think it's hilarious, but some people watch it like, hey, I don't know about this.
Right.
But it, epic in its time, and something that you never saw before in that time period. I mean, that's a pretty old movie. But you're going to say the date?
So it hasn't released in the US yet. So they did a release for the London Film Festival, which is where I saw that it was viewed. The Harder They Fall is the name of it, right? The Harder They Fall. And the actor's name is Jonathan Majors. That's the name of the guy.
There we go. Yep, Jonathan Majors. Yeah, that's a crazy cast for that movie. I can't wait to see it. And just the vibe I got from it, like in the trailer where he's just walking and they're just like going at it. You see the gunfight. He's just not blinking, just walking through the middle of a gunfight in a crowded train. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be badass. So I can't wait for that to drop. It's on my wait list. But I think I cut you off. You're going somewhere.
No.
Oh, okay. Okay, so just a quick recap, because I definitely want to get into the 5th generation of consoles, because we've been going through all the different generations of consoles, working our way up to, I think we're Gen 11 now, technically. So we're on Gen 5, which is the PlayStation 1 in parentheses, right? Because a model PS1 did come out, but just the PlayStation. The N64, and what else was in that generation? The Sega Saturn. So I definitely wanted to talk about those, because I thought that was that generation broke the 3 game system tier at that point. Like that was the beginning of the doom of Sega. So I think it's very interesting. But so this week I watched What If, epic episode. I definitely want to talk about that. I think What If might actually be better than some of Marvel's catalog by itself. I watched what else did I watch? I watched Squid Game. I keep forgetting I watched that because I marathoned it. I watched Squid Game in a day and a half. Damn. Because I had to catch up, man. I had the FOMO. I needed to know what the world was watching, and I was not disappointed. I thought it was pretty good. And then I skipped Bond. Now I regret it. Now that you said that you liked it, I could have saw it Friday night or Saturday afternoon, and I was just like, I'm tired. But now I wish I had seen it. It'll be out for the rest of the week, or not the week. They shut down during the week. It should be out next weekend too, because I don't think anything crazy is coming out until Eternals. So I think they'll be playing that one for a while. So I'll probably go check it out. I watched something else. I can't remember what it was. I was looking for something and I found it, and I was just, I watched the rest of Batman Ninja.
Oh
That
yeah,
they
that's
were on
right.
drugs when they made that.
Right, right.
It was epic. I was like, this is the most anime thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, they turned it
Like
turned it
it
on its
goes,
head. Like,
it
yeah.
goes crazy. Like they got freaking giant robots at the end. I'm just like, yo, this is wild.
Using some like ninja, like Naruto, like freaking Shinigami. I don't know,
It
you
was
know.
crazy. It was crazy. The monkeys and the bats. I was like, yo, what is happening?
Right. Like,
What
what's
is
going
going
on?
on? But it was
I noticed I was on HBO Max and I noticed their DC catalog had a lot more stuff in it that I started adding to my watch list. And Batman Ninja, I remember LeVon, you had watched it before, right? Was it you
Yeah,
had watched it
I think I
before?
might have brought it
Was
up.
telling me
Yeah.
about it, and I was like, "Oh, there it is." I was like, "Let me put that on the watch list." But like, I added like 5 or 6 new ones that showed up there. I added Red Sun, Superman's Red Sun was on there.
Yeah.
Batman Ninja. There was a few others. I was like, let me add these to the list because the animated DC stuff, I love it. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
yeah, they do a really good job.
yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do better than their live action movies for a lot
Yeah.
of them. But
I would
then maybe
definitely.
unless they start doing all Snyder cuts with DC, I ain't watching no more. No, I'm joking.
Right.
but
The
but
Snyderverse.
yeah, the Snyderverse. Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna watch that Batman Ninja. I got an extended weekend this weekend, so I'll
Yeah.
probably get Batman Ninja in there.
Yeah, just to warn you, it's very anime. Like it's as anime with some DC sprinkled in. It's not DC.
I saw the trailer, so I could see it.
I
Right,
was like,
so,
oh,
I saw the trailer, and it's like I hear the voiceover stuff, but nobody's mouth is moving, and I'm just like, oh, okay. I was like, this is very,
it's
yeah,
very,
okay,
yeah,
very
it's
anime.
very anime.
Yeah.
But I thought they did a excellent job. Just the way it's drawn. You know what I mean? Like it's very uh oh man, I forget what period it was. Like, is it the Edo period or whatever? Like when like just they have very brilliant paintings, and it's pretty much a painting come to life. So I really dug the art style. So I definitely recommend it to anyone who hasn't seen it. And you don't have to watch it in the DC cartoons in any particular order for this one. It's just like it's just something that happened, right? It's just like, oh,
Right.
okay.
Right. It's like, yeah, it's a filler.
So I thought it was pretty good. But yeah, I watched that last night instead of Bond. But I might actually go see Bond next weekend. I wonder if it's playing tonight. It may be. I don't know. I'll check. But aside from that, man, I've been getting my fitness on. I finally started like being serious about my fitness, like not just going to the gym and just picking up whatever weights are available. So,
Yeah.
my wife put me onto the Peloton app, right? Because she has the tread and she has the bike plus, and she gets down with the fitness. So she made me a guest account, and I'm hooked. So I've worked out 2 days for the past 2 weeks.
Wow.
So, and loving it because of the variety. Like, because I was just doing the same stuff over and over again. You know what I mean? Like chest day was the same, leg day was the same. It's just like for whatever reason, like I really dig in like the different instructors and just what their different takes on upper body versus lower body is, and then just I'm doing a lot of HIIT and interval running in the afternoons, evenings, and it's definitely I can see the improvement when it comes to endurance, but my calves are shot. So this weekend I just been walking. My calves are done.
Damn.
So yeah, I've been doing that, and then supposed to be studying. So real quick, supposed to be studying for the Computer Hacking Forensics Investigator (CHFI) because I have a voucher which I've never used, and then I discovered it expires on the 13th. So I've began to quote unquote, I'm doing quotation marks, study for it. I'm going to fail this thing so hard, but I can't let that voucher go to waste. So I'm gonna crack down tonight. For now until I test, I'm gonna go hard, and I gotta redo. So I got my employer to pay for another voucher.
Oh, nice.
So I'll take it, get the experience, and I'll take it again.
So look, that's where I was with my CISP. So I took it this past week and I did not pass, but I was coming up on the voucher end period to where it was going to expire. So I was like, anyone who watches the show knows I have not been studying, right? We say it every week. But I went in there, got a look at it, and I knew. So the way they do it to where it's a cumulative, I guess you could say. So like it'll stop after a certain amount of questions, whether you're good or bad, right? On whether you're
right. It's called a cat, right? VCAT or cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it? I forget what the term is, but like I knew halfway through, I was like, this is going to stop as soon as possible. Like, I was like, there's no way. Like they put, and it's not a secret, but they put some beta questions in there, right, for you to that aren't included against your score or anything like that. So like I knew those when I saw them because I was like, okay, that was in nowhere near anything. But there was stuff in there that I recognized. I was like, man, what was that order again? You know what I mean? Like it's just like I did see it, but like what was the order? Was it this? Was it this? You know, but I knew I was like, okay, this is gonna stop at 100 questions. And as soon as I got past 100, like it start the spinning things start coming out. I was like, go ahead and give it to me. Like I did not pass. I know that, but I did start studying, right? Because I do want to actually put the real honest effort into it. And again, because a lot of it looks so familiar, I was like, man, I came across that. I came across it 5 months ago. You know what I mean? So like,
and that's a valid testing technique, right? Not that you're trying to beat the test. It's just like you don't know what you don't know, especially for such a CISP or a PMP. Like getting that exposure is a tool as well. Just like, okay, now I definitely know I don't know this domain at all. I thought I did, but now I need to study. So I think that's valid, especially if you have the ability to do it. You know what I mean? Like everybody can't do that because it's just how expensive the test is. But money bags, Tynes over there.
It was paid for with the boot camp though. It was like I said, it was going to expire because it was paid for with the boot camp. It was included in the price that was already paid that my company reimbursed me for. So like I didn't come out of pocket for it. You know what I mean? So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, but no, that's good though. Like you got that exposure. Now you know exactly. Like obviously the tests will vary and what have you, but you know exactly what areas you were strong and weak in. So like I think it's a max 150, right?
I think it's 150 max, but it will stop at like you will get at least 100, right?
So both times 150. It played my emotions the first time. It got me all the way to 150. I was like, at one point during the test, I think I was in the 120s. I was like, just cut me loose. You know, I don't have this. What are you doing to me right now? I made all the way. And then you get to hope when you get to 149, you're like, oh, I might actually have it. And then 150, you failed. I was like, what? And then the second time I get to 150 again, I'm like, oh, you playing with me. But yeah, it's very super challenging test. So you definitely knock out the next time. This CHF, I don't know.
You're not confident, huh?
I just have I'm out of the practice of studying. Like has it been a year when I finished? I think I took CEH in June or July or something like that. So I haven't done anything study wise since then. So I'm just out of practice. I can't settle, you know what I mean, into the studying, even though I'm not doing anything else. I'll just get distracted. I'll start YouTubing or scrolling or whatever. So I just got to get back into the practice of studying. Because there's a few tests I want to take before I leave here, because I got a whole another year of just meanness, right? So
you say you're not doing anything else, but you're working, you're teaching, you're two-a-dang. Like you got a bunch of stuff on your.
There's a lot of space.
Yeah.
There's a lot of space when you don't have a family like actively like there or whatever. There's a lot of space. I don't know what people do. You know what I mean? Like I'm just adding stuff to fill space at this point. But there's a few tests I want to knock out. CHFI. I want to knock out cloud. You guys have pushed me towards Azure, so I want to definitely do the practitioner or whatever basic level for that. I want to get my CCNP. That's going to be an undertaking, not because I need it, but because I feel after 20 years of networking, why not? You know what I mean? Like it feels like something I'm just leaving on the table. And then I want to take another ISC squared, like it was an SSCP, I believe. Like once I understand cloud a little bit better, I want to take their cloud security test. And then there's some levels above CISP, but I'm just like, I don't know about that. Because only like 1% people have them. So are they marketable? You know what I mean? That I don't know. I tried reaching out to a person who had one. He kind of gave me the cold shoulder. Like people out there protecting their kingdoms, and it's not even a fight, man. Like, is it worth it or not? But I digress. Gatekeepers. But I wanted to get into this fifth generation of consoles real quick, because we always wait to like the very end to talk about them. But I think this is a very interesting generation. So let me pull it up real quick. Blam. So the fifth generation is technically 1993 through 2006, because they were still making games for these consoles even back then, right? Even in 06. You have the Sega Saturn, the Sony PlayStation, and the Nintendo 64. So this was after the big I don't know what you would call it, ruckus between Sony and Nintendo, where at one point there was going to be a Nintendo system with a CD drive. It was going to happen. And Nintendo at the last minute backed out. And that thing actually exists. Somebody found one in a attic, and now it is in a museum. So it's a real product. But Sony built their own console. Nintendo stuck with cartridges. And then the Saturn was CD based, right? There was a Saturn with a cartridge slot. I forget what you could do with that. I don't know if it was expansion or what. But technically, the Saturn was the first 64-bit console, technically, because it had two 32-bit processors that no one knew how to program for. So it was technically more powerful than the PlayStation, but the games were on par or worse on the Saturn because of the weird architecture of the system. So I didn't own a Saturn. I had to pick again. So I picked the N64 because I played Super Mario 64 at a JCPenney's. They had a little kiosk, and I was hooked. It was the most amazing thing I had ever seen in my life. It was Mario in 3D with the weird, remember the weird controller? With you can hold it like this, you can hold it like that, you can hold it like that. Nobody hold it like that. Yeah.
The Trident, yeah, that's what it looked like.
Trident, yeah, it looked like Trident. Still, like it worked. It worked for every different type of combination you could think of, right? So my mom got me the N64, and I knew I was getting it for Christmas because like literally I took her to it. Like, I want this. What do you want? I want this. And it was when Sega Channel was petering out, right? So Sega Channel was dropping off. I was like, hey, listen, my subscription is going to go away because they're canceling Sega Channel, and this is the right investment for me. So she was like, okay, you want to get one? You get that one. So she got that, and then I saved up my money to buy the game for it. So I bought Mario 64. So I had the game and I had the manual, and I would read the manual every day, waiting to play it. Like, I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna hold it like this. I'm gonna do that with it. Right. I was excited. I was hyped. Yeah, she got me the console. She got me the controller, and then I got the game. But yeah, amazing game. Still my favorite Mario to this day. It makes me want to open up the 3D All-Star collection I bought. That's supposed to be limited edition. I'm still seeing them. Like, they just got a new shipment at the store. They got me. I should just open it up and play it. That's what I should do. But that was my favorite at the time. And then I played a lot of games on it, but the most important game on that system, in my opinion, was GoldenEye. I put thousands of hours in GoldenEye with me and my friends. That was the jam for the system. But and then I eventually got a PlayStation years later. I want to say 99 or 2000. I finally got a PlayStation, and then my favorite game of all time would be Final Fantasy VII. So I got that. Blew my mind. Like the full motion video, which does not hold up well at all nowadays when you look at it, as well as like the soundtrack was amazing. I played that game at least 10 times, probably back to back.
Damn.
Yeah, I love that. That was my favorite game of all time. And since I never played an RPG like it, you know what I mean? Like, I played some RPGs on my Sega when I had the Sega Channel. Like I played like Fantasy Star and a few others, or was it Shining Force? Shining Force was an RPG I played, but none of them were to the caliber of Final Fantasy VII. It was mind blowing. And then my other go-to jam was Resident Evil. So Resident Evil 1 and 2, like amazing. Some of my favorite games of all time. Always wanted the Saturn, but I never went back because it was dying when I finally had the disposable income to go get one. Because I wanted Marvel vs. Capcom because it was like the definitive version was on the Saturn at the time, but couldn't afford it. So, but what about you guys in that generation?
Yeah, I think I was similar to you. As this is like the generation when I actually started getting the multi-console. It wasn't like dedicated to one console. I think I got I'm trying to remember. I think I got the N64 first, but at whatever point I ended up having both of them. And I remember like I remember going onto the chat rooms and like arguing back and forth between like what's better, N64 or the Sony PlayStation. And I remember being in the chat rooms and talking junk and like no, N64 is better. No, and because at the time, like that was before I got my PlayStation. I used to like try to come up with excuses or reasons why I thought the N64 was better because the cartridges, and I was like, oh yeah, they have 64 bits, man, 64 bits more than whatever how many bits this PlayStation had. But those were the good old days. I remember that's when you were like really fanboying. Nowadays I just buy whatever, we got enough money we can buy more than one console, but
Right.
And it's like no point in like really trying to argue like which one's better. But nonetheless, yeah, it's like you mentioned, I had this Mario 64. That was like the big game that came out. I remember when Star Fox came out for the N64. That was a big deal because that's like the first time I had the Rumble Pack. That's the first like console that I can remember that had like a Rumble Pack, a Rumble feature like in the controller. And it may have been some other like off the wall controller before that, but that's like the major. Like they made a kind of a big impact. And I think that kind of set the stage for future controllers. Like I think eventually Sony came out with their Rumble Pack, like a DualShock 2 or something that had like the DualShock. So it's like they actually started incorporating the vibration into the controller, and obviously developers started incorporating into the games. So that's like a big highlight in that generation. I think that's kind of sparked that trend. I'm trying to think what else. Oh yeah, when the PlayStation, one thing that I thought was cool when I had a PlayStation was I remember just being able to get like demos. Like they'd have like I signed up for some magazine. I think it's either
PSM.
Yeah,
Probably
I think it's PSM.
Yep.
Yeah, they used to have like the demos with every magazine every month. I had a subscription, and you'd be able to just like pull out the demos and like start playing some random games. Pop them into your console, into the Sony. And I thought that was one big thing that they had over like the Nintendo. But I do remember Nintendo Power. They used to have VHSs that had like previews and stuff for the games that are coming out, like trailers, and I still have them too. And I remember some of them being like really funny, and they were like cheesy, but they were funny at the same time. But they're like I just remember like one, they were talking about Star Fox, and the guy was like he was hyping up like the controller and the rumble, like he's like, you can actually feel the game. What? Yeah, man, you can actually feel the game. Check it out. And like hand him the controller and all that kind of stuff. And it was cool. They had these little like, I don't know, these situations. They had like little stories behind them, but it was a good generation. I think that was like I'm looking at the list. I think that's obviously the next generation is when the Dreamcast came out, which was one of my favorite consoles of all time. But I remember the 5th generation was pretty like impactful to me as far as just like some of the games that came out. Some of the like I think things started to get a little bit more modern, and things started like I don't know some of the big features that are kind of widely available now are kind of like became a thing. But yeah, I think that's my I never had the Sega Saturn. I was still like on the Sony. I mean, I was still on from the SNES to the N64 transition. I was like, Sega, you can buy it at Sega. I didn't have anything for you at that time until the Dreamcast came out, which I didn't get the Dreamcast when it first came out, but I got it like later. We'll talk about that next time, but I didn't get that right away. But but nonetheless, I was still like on Nintendo. I was like, yeah, Nintendo's N64. I don't need no Sega system. And then like I started seeing some things come out on the PlayStation. I was like, oh, let me get a PlayStation 2, a PlayStation as well, and then started playing on that at the same time. So that was a pretty good generation for me. But how about you, Shannon? Did you have any good memories from that?
All right, so to put myself out there as the old man in the group, right? So like right around I joined the military in 99, right? So I kind of remember when you mentioned GoldenEye, I was like, oh yeah, I remember when I was in tech school, people were playing that all the time. Like
Hmm.
I didn't have a console with me at the time, like it was at home still or whatever, but um I remember everybody was on GoldenEye. Like GoldenEye was the game. And it had been out for at least a year by that time in like early 99 when I was in tech school. It had been out for at least a year, I want to say. I'm gonna look it up now, but yeah, everybody was playing it, but I got a PlayStation. Like for me, it was PlayStation.
Okay.
And like when it comes to games, like I don't I guess I was never like I hear you guys talk and I'm like, man, you guys were really into it. I thought I played video games a lot, but maybe I
Nostalgia.
didn't. Yeah, maybe I just didn't because I'm like, man, I never played that. Like some of the stuff y'all mentioned, I'm like, I don't even know what that is. I'm like, I don't know anything about that. But PlayStation was my thing. Like, and at the time, like I would play like it was Madden. They had a 2K was coming out with the football game around that time. WWE, like wrestling, or I think
Oh yeah.
it might have still been WWF at the time, as a matter of fact, because I was watching wrestling all the time. You know what I mean? But PlayStation was where I went, and like it wasn't that I was a fanboy or anything like that. It was just that I don't know. That might have been what was available to me at the time and what I played. You
Right.
know what I mean, what I could find. It wasn't like I was like, oh, Nintendo. I wasn't like LeVon over here talking about 64-bit. That's the next new thing. If you ain't on 64-bit, you ain't. You know. Like,
Right, exactly.
I wasn't doing nothing like that,
Right.
but yeah, no, I mean, yeah, PlayStation was my thing, and I had PlayStation 2, and then I did the Xbox. Well, we'll go into that later on, but yeah,
Right.
like
Right.
I didn't, I was not into like I had seen Final Fantasy 7, but it didn't interest me because of the stop in the action. Like you had to pick, like you had to read and then pick what
Right.
action you
Yeah.
took, whatever. And I was like, I want to keep it moving. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to have
Right.
to do this. Now it looked pretty cool. Like once you picked whatever you did, all of a sudden, stuff would light up and whatnot, and be like, I'm like, oh man, that looks cool, but it's too much stopping for me. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I never got into the Final Fantasy thing, and like, and I think the first time I ever even saw it might have been like Final Fantasy 7. You know what I mean? I had never seen 1 through 6, if that is a real thing. I don't know. I'm assuming
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah. They are.
yeah,
They're the number system is weird though, but
yeah.
like our two is not Japan's two is weird.
Yeah. That is weird.
But I never played those though growing up because they were all on the SNES. I didn't have it. You know what I mean? So I didn't get to play Final Fantasy at all. So I didn't really know about Final Fantasy except for like LeVon said, magazines. So they would hype up 7 like it was the greatest thing of all ever. And I was just like, I gotta try it out. And then I did, and I was like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. But so did you ever play what's another series? Tenchu? You ever played the assassin stealth assassin game? Oh man, that was my jam for a minute. What about Metal Gear Solid?
So
I,
Metal Gear Solid, I played later. I didn't play the first one on PlayStation.
oh, okay,
I
gotcha.
played the later versions, right? Like and like I like it, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I never continued with it, even when I had Sony. Like they got into, I think the last one I got was Snake Eater. I think was the
Okay.
name of it.
Yep.
I think it was the
Yep.
last one I got, but they've had some after that, and I didn't do it anymore. You know what I mean? But I think my interest just changed to where it was, I'm only gonna get so many games.
Right.
And
Right.
so it was always Madden, it was always 2K for basketball, and that was just kind of it. Like those were, I do
Got
those
it.
two every year and be done with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's a pretty big demographic of people who are like they cap themselves. They're like, nah, I buy it for this. Which is fine. I would say it because the whole argument is like, are you a gamer because you play a variety of games, or you're a gamer because you're consistent? I will go over consistency more than variety. Like you got people who don't call themselves gamers, but they have had Madden since the first Madden through now. That's a gamer. You hardcore. Like, or the same thing with Call of Duty and things like that. People just buy that one game and they will play it for infinity. So I think both are gamers, right? But I arguably would say that's a little bit more hardcore. Like I thought I was hardcore because of variety, but I know people who they will buy a $500 system to play one game. That's hardcore. They're like, I play Madden. Like, you don't play nothing else? Like, no. You could have waited. Like, man, don't change. Like, nah, I need that new defense. I need them updated rosters. Like, you more hardcore than me.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's it's like my gaming systems are like my streaming systems now. You know what I mean? Like I use them as my means to watch my Hulu, my Netflix, my Amazon. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I mean, I have games and whatnot. Like I got PS5. I still like to this day. My wife got me the PS5 in August, and I still haven't played. I'm looking over here. It's the Resident Evil game. I think it's called The Village or something like that.
Oh,
and then, yeah. So I mean, I plan on playing it eventually, right? But like, I'm just not playing games that often like I used to. And then she got the, which I already had it on PS4, the Miles Morales Spider-Man, which was good. Which I liked it, you know what I mean? But I've already beat it, so I got to wait a little while till I come back to it, right? Like,
right.
I say that having played God of War on PS5, like,
I was gonna say you played God of War though.
Yeah, it looks amazing. I'm like, maybe I should give this.
They said Miles Morales also looks amazing. I wouldn't know because I'm not like LeVon down there with extravagant televisions. I'm on my 24-inch 720p over here.
I was about to make a comment that Shannon's pulling a LeVon by like letting his PlayStation 5 collect dust over there.
Is that the flex when you let it collect dust? Like, how much dust is on my PlayStation?
How much dust? Let me look at this right here. Let me show you guys.
I still play some stuff on it. I played Madden today, you know what I mean, for a little bit, but then it was just kind of like I'm probably gonna give up on that Madden. I know I've said it before. I'm gonna say it again. Like, man, I might be done with them. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. They're not going to improve. They're not going to improve until they have competition. Like EA has had rights for so long that they are just getting so lazy. Like the programming is terrible. Like defense on there. And I'm not like, even though I've played Madden for years, I like give it a little bit of run and then, just put it down. Right. But like for me, like there's stuff happening, like because I pay attention to sports and I follow football, I'm like, that's not real. You know what I mean? Like defenders will just come off of the man they're guarding for no reason. Like without me pressing any buttons or anything, they'll just like, I'm like, why are you blitzing? Like you ran with them and then you blitzed all of a sudden. Like what is going on here? Like there's 11 men on the field. I can only control one. I need you to do what I picked as your assignment. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's crazy.
So I honestly think they're going to lose the license exclusivity, if I can say that word properly, only because of what just happened with MLB. So MLB The Show was the premier baseball game developed by a Sony studio exclusively on Sony products, right? So Sony has had the MLB license for years upon years, and it's a very well-selling game. MLB was finally like, hey, listen, you will lose the license if you don't allow this game to be played on multiple platforms, because it's revenue, right? So you have the license and whatnot, but we get a percentage of every game sold because it's our license that you are leasing, renting, whatever you want to call it. So this MLB The Show year, because I don't really play it all like that. I've seen it tangentially and whatnot. Sony developed it, put it on the PS5, obviously, but it's also available on Xbox. And to rub salt into the wound, Microsoft put it on Game Pass. Mm-hmm. So it was available to everyone who had Game Pass. Like, does it sell more games that benefit both Sony and MLB? Yes. Does Sony want that to happen? No. You know what I mean? Like, they literally made a game for the Xbox at that point. And everybody was like, nah, it's not going to happen. Like, no, it happened. It's a thing. And Sony did not advertise it very, very heavily because of it.
See, I think they're just going to go away from EA being the only ones to do it. I think what's going to happen is the NFL, like the last 2 years, that game has been so poorly rated that there's no way that the NFL, like, even though they're making money, right, they could be doing better if they open it up for competition, because
that's what I agree.
Yeah, EA and 2K, but it was two different studios developing it. So like the story you just told, you're saying Sony developed it for someone else. When Madden was in competition with 2K, like 2K was getting to the point where they were like, "We're coming for you." Like they were
right. They're selling that like $40.
And they were probably a better product, to be honest with you. The presentation was good. The graphics were different from what you had seen. They were. I mean, it's a matter of opinion whether or not they were better. But then all of a sudden, EA was like, this is why EA went exclusive. They're like, we're going to pay you a bunch of money because they are running up our backs right now, making a better product. So we're just gonna take it. And that was like 2000. Like the last time 2K made an NFL licensed game was like 2005. So we're looking like 15 years now, 16 years now.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think they're talking about making a college game. I think they're talking about NCAA coming from 2K.
I would believe
an NCAA game coming from 2K.
Yeah, I would believe it.
And I don't know if you might be able to answer this, Shannon, but I remember 2K. I played a little bit of Madden too, but it's been such a long time. But I remember one thing on 2K that I really enjoyed was like they had like a juke button, or you can make a character like juke left and right, and like as you're like, if you're like, get a running play or something, or if you get past the ball, you can like actually juke your character like avoid a tackle. And I don't remember like Madden having that same.
So Madden has that. So like they have like you can do different moves and whatnot, but it's like you could tell there are years they just get lazy, right? Like they'll hype up something that's just like maybe it just doesn't. I don't care about it, right? So like they have this Madden Ultimate Team stuff that they have on there. Yeah, the hit stick was good though. Like when they implemented the hip stick, that's something that stayed through ever since, right? Like that was a big thing, right? Ray Lewis on the cover of that one. I remember that being a Ravens fan. But yeah, hit stick, baby. But no, it was one of those things where they just got lazy and they started going into things that just I don't really care about, right? Like I'm gonna do franchise or really franchise is really all I do. I'm not doing Madden Ultimate Team. I'm not paying you money to get any type of credits, to get any type of cards, to do any fantasy draft. Like I play fantasy football, but I don't want to play it on my video game. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? I want to play the real team. I want the realism of it. I don't want the arcade feel to it. But they have to appeal to those other audiences, and I think they just went too far that way. You know what I mean? So it's been poorly rated the last 2 years to where I think the NFL is going to come out and be like, all right, you can have it too, but we're also going to give other people we're going to license to other people as well.
Right. And so I definitely think that's definitely a thing that will happen. I don't know if it'll happen before 2K starts to do college football, but I believe if they hit it with the right presentation, it will go to show like, no, we need to also allow them to use our license, because it's all about money at the end of the day. Like they have no loyalty to EA, only to the fact that they're the only ones making a game right now and paying them a premium to do it. But if they, like you said, if they give it to multiple studios, that's just more revenue in their pocket. So why not? But I will concede that Ultimate Team makes them billions of dollars though. Like I don't know if it's quite billions. I would assume so, because like for FIFA, it's billions. For Ultimate Team, people are addicted to buying those packs and whatnot. It's akin to gambling, but
I think FIFA's more widespread though. So because soccer is a more global game, I think that's why they probably make them billions. They make millions. I bet you they make millions off the Ultimate Team. MUT is what they call it, Madden Ultimate Team, MUT. I'm like, it's MUT, all right. I don't want nothing to do with it. But I shouldn't say that. MUT animals are loved as well. But I got a dog that's a mix, so I can't say that. It's I can't wait for them to do it, because it's going to do one of two things. It's going to make EA step their game up, right? Like you guys have been BSing all this time, and you're going to get better, or it is going to spark competition, which always is supposed to make things better, right? You spark that competition, they'll be like, all right, if I want to stay ahead, this is what's going to happen.
I honestly don't understand why it's not more. I get it because they make more money by selling you a $60 now $70 game every year, but just give me roster updates. Like make a really good engine that you can tweak, like all these other service games, right? Like you have subscription based games that continuously get better, like your I don't know Final Fantasy 14s, your World of Warcrafts and whatnot, and they continuously update the graphics and they give you more stuff and they keep expanding and they charge you monthly and they also charge you for expansions, which that's why I'm not into those games because A, I don't play enough, and then B, I don't want to give you no more of my money. But why don't they do that? Like, why is that not a thing that exists for football and basketball? Like, I get it because you can make $60, $70 a pop. But if you charge them subscription, you would make even more money. You know what I mean? All you have to do is just make your graphic updates, tweak the defense, tweak the offense, update the rosters. Now you're charging somebody $10 a month. And that's 120 per person.
I think I don't know this for sure, but I think EA is doing a rotation on their development team, right? So the people that develop Madden will also go and develop, this other EA game, and then also go and develop this other EA game. So they can't put that time. They can't put that time into it year round.
See, I thought it was just one studio though. I thought it was just Tiburon out of Florida. I think they're out of Florida.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I thought it was just Tiburon because like Tiburon is like that studio that makes Madden, and now they're the infamous studio that makes a bad Madden.
Yeah, you could be right then. You could be right because, like I said,
I haven't paid attention, man. The last time I bought, don't let me lie to you. Last time I bought a Madden game was 07. That was the last time I bought Madden. I was like, I'm good. Never again. But man, we went off on a mean tangent. So yeah, to close the console discussion. So what else did I play for 64? Obviously Legend of Zelda. I had the gold cartridge for the Ocarina of Time. Amazing. I never played Majora's Mask. Never played it. Like people shun me to this day. I got it. One of these days I'm gonna pick it up. Pilot Wings was on there. I didn't own that one, but that was
you're gonna pick it up for a generation of a gaming system 6 generations ago. Is what you're saying right
now? No. So I think they dropped it again for the Game Boy, one of the Game Boy varieties, like it was 3DS or whatever. So at some point, Nintendo will bless us with another copy for us to buy, because what they do. Where I've bought the same game 6-7 times over because Nintendo just finally released them. Timely, at the last Nintendo Direct, they're actually adding the 64 console to the Switch. So like how you can play NES and Super NES games now. And I'm playing my first Super NES games because of the Switch. Now you can play 64 and Sega games. So they're adding each generation, working their way towards hopefully the GameCube gets some love in there as well. Because I never played like Eternal Darkness and a few other ones. But we'll get to those when we get to that generation. It's probably next, right? The 6th generation? The 6th generation is the Dreamcast, the PS2, the GameCube, and the Xbox. So that's when there was too many people in the room. that's when things changed. But I think a lot of that led Sega out was the Saturn, because the Saturn performed so poorly here in the States. As well as probably Europe, because we usually have similar tastes, right? But it did good in Japan, for as far as I know. But it's just developers weren't developing, and games were not selling. So that was like you had Virtual Fighters and stuff like that on there. Like all these games I never got a chance to play, and they never recovered. Even though the Dreamcast, like LeVon's my favorite console of all time. We'll get to that when we get there next week. They just never rebounded, and that's why they just fell out the console game. So, but yeah, I love my 64, even though I had a very limited library, which I gave away. I had some neighbor kids, and I was cleaning out our storage closet in Alaska before we moved, and they happened to be in the parking garage. And I was like, hey, you want this box? It was this box of 64 accessories. I had Rumble packs in there, expansion packs for like Perfect Dark when that was a thing. And just a gang of games and strategy guides. I just gave them the whole box. So here you go.
Dang.
Shouldn't have did that. Like maybe those kids are now productive members of society, and that somehow spurred them to be great. I don't know. but I doubt it.
You kept them out of the streets. Just think about
That's
that.
right. That's right.
I should have kept it because now I look back and I'm like, I could have all these consoles in my game room and in future, whenever I have one of those, in display, because they would still work. You know what I mean? Unlike the Xbox, I had 6 of those. Or the 360. I just say, like, the original Xbox, that thing was a tank, but it was the 360. It was the first few.
Was that the red ring?
Yeah.
Was that the red ring? Okay.
I literally went through 6 of them, but we'll get there as well. That's 7th generation of consoles. But yeah, I thought it was a really good generation, man. Like it put me on to Sony, and I've been a fan ever since. It put me on to some great games when it comes to Resident Evil. I'm a diehard fan. My favorite being on the Dreamcast. We'll talk about, or at least it launched on the Dreamcast. We'll talk about that next week. Metal Gear. I played Metal Gear Solid to my fingers bled. That was an amazing game. There was an achievement for beating it like back to back or something like that. Like you got like a scarf or something. Like game, like you would get in-game stuff the quicker you could beat the game, or the more times you played it back to back, which was amazing. What else did I play on that console? Tenchu. So I'm hoping Tenchu will one day come back. It's stealth assassin game. That was my jam. Final Fantasy VII, of course, my favorite game of all time. Man, the list goes on and on. Like it had some bangers on that console, and it played CDs, which was amazing to me.
Right. Listen to
I can listen to music on this thing. So, but yeah, so that pretty much wraps it up for that generation. But anything else before we go? Any last alibis?
I can't think of anything. I mean, you mentioned it all. Yeah, and I remember playing Road Rash on PlayStation.
Oh, Road
Sony.
Rash.
That was a big game for me too.
Yeah, man. It was on the bike, hitting people with the chain.
Yeah, hitting people with the chain and kicking people and like trying to knock them off.
Yeah,
it was just like
I don't even know what that is. See?
Oh man,
Yeah.
Road Rash. Like that was great. They were talking about bringing it back, and it didn't come back.
Wait a minute. Is that the one that had like the ice cream truck? You could.
That's Twisted Metal. So Twisted Metal was a PS1 game though. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's another big one.
There was somebody I knew that had that one that I thought was kind of cool. Like you could pick different vehicles and.
That's a TV show coming out, by the way.
What?
They turned into a TV show. Yep, it's coming out soon. Like Sony's turned a lot of their franchises into TV shows, and one of the first ones is Twisted Metal. Is like just off the chain. It has to be horror, right?
Right. It's gonna be something like
something a thriller,
post-apocalyptic type thing. I don't know. It has to be something crazy, some futuristic, like battle royale type thing. I don't know.
Right. So that's going to be at least worth giving a watch. I don't know if I'll stick with it, but I'll check it out just to see what they do with well, I forget what his name was, the clown. But what else? What else to do with that generation? I think that's pretty much
Sweet
it,
Tooth, was it?
Sweet Tooth, yep. Let's just see what they do with Sweet Tooth, because that dude was insane. But all in all, it was a really good generation. Like I'm kind of glad that Nintendo and Sony divorced themselves from one another, because now we're in a really good situation, and both of them are thriving, right?
Yeah.
So it didn't hurt either one of them. So it's a win-win for everybody. Not Sega though.
Poor Sega.
Yeah,
I miss you, Sega.
I do. And we'll get to the Dreamcast, man. That Crazy Taxi, Ready to Rumble, all that good stuff. Can't wait. Like that was a great generation. But I think that does it for this episode. So for all of those who are still listening in, greatly appreciated. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, LeVon. Definitely like, share, subscribe. If this is the episode that you listen to, like you like this one, definitely let us know what you like about it, because we're just kind of freeform right now. We just talk about anything. So give us some feedback. So we can kind of tailor it to someone who's listening. But next week we'll talk about the 6th generation of consoles and also what we have been doing. Hopefully I will have a good story about my test. Not feeling like it's going to be a good story though. I gotta buckle down, man. And then just whatever media we've consumed. I'm trying to think of what's coming out in the future. I can't think of any. Oh, I'm watching Foundation. I'll let you know how Foundation goes. It's a Apple TV. Yeah, Apple TV show called Foundation. It's a sci-fi joint. It's only 5-hour-long episodes. The fourth one came out already. I'm gonna watch that one today, and then the fifth one comes out on Friday, and then they wrap. It's like it's a sci-fi joint that takes place over a large period of time, and it's based upon I think the author is Asimov, the guy who wrote some really big sci-fi bangers. Can't think of any of them off the top of my head. I'm not a big into his literature, but so far so good. I can't recommend it. I got to see how it wraps up, because right now it's kind of boring. So I'm like, where they get into? It's got some hooks, but it's not Squid Game.
It's not capturing. Yeah, it's not no Squid Game.
That's Squid Game. It hasn't captured me yet, and that's saying a lot, because I'm literally 4 hours into it, right, out of 5. So we'll see what comes to pass, but it's not bad. It's just it hasn't taken me yet. So, but if you're into sci-fi and you have Apple TV, once you get a year for free if you buy an Apple product, at least you used to anyway, I would say check it out. It's called Foundation. So big sci-fi epic. It's getting huge reviews, but I'm just so on it. So, but definitely hit up the website. It's www.theothersideofthefirewall.com. We can get to all our social medias. You can hit me up personally. I am at RyRy Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy. I am on LinkedIn, Clubhouse, Twitter, and TikTok. And you, LeVon?
You can hit me up on the Twitters at LeVon Maynard.
There it is. Stay safe. Stay secure.
Take care.